Today's podcast is on the topic of the professional liability of the auditor, of an auditor. So, there is a liability for an auditor, there is a liability to the client and liability to the third parties. Firstly, liability to the client. There are 3 points that need to be considered. First, liability to the client arises from the contractual law. Contractual law, a company has a contract with the auditor, the engagement letter, and hence can sue the auditor with the breach of contract if the auditor delivers a negligently prepared report. So when there is a liability for the auditor and liability to the client, we have liability if liability exists, the contract of law in the engagement letter, if negligently prepared report is published. Second, when carrying out their duties, the auditor must exercise due care and skills. And third, generally, if auditor can show that they have complied with the professional standards, including auditing standard and ethical requirement, that they will not have been negligent. Now, liability to the third party. A person who has no contractual relationship with the auditor may able to sue the auditor for the damage, that is financial award. In the tort of negligence, the plaintiff, the third party, must prove that first thing, the defendant, the auditor, owes a duty of care. Second, that defendant has breached, means the auditor has breached the appropriate standard of care as discussed. And third, as a result of it, a loss is made to the defendant. A loss is made as a direct result of defendant's breach. The critical matter in the most negligent scenario is where duty of care is owed in the first place. To summarize this entire thing, the professional liability of an auditor. Professional liability of an auditor means in case of any damage or any misrepresentation or in case of any fraud, the auditor have to compensate the other party. So auditor liability have been to two people. To the client, to the shareholders of the company, and the third is stakeholders, other people, third party. So liability of auditor is means the liability when auditor is negligent, means non-compliance. There could be two scenarios. Auditor can be intentionally non-complying, means he is not complying, he is unintentional. When it is intentionally non-complying, then it is a criminal liability. But if there is an unintentional non-compliance, then it is going to be a civil liability for the auditor. Now, for a liability, for the professional liability to be exist and that a loss is made and professional is liable, how to prove the negligence? How to prove that auditor was negligent? In the injured party must prove 3 things. First, duty of care enforceable by law exists. Second, duty of care was breached. You have to prove that the duty of care was breached. And last, breach caused the loss. So first, duty of care exists by the law. Second, duty of care was breached. And third, as the result, loss is made. It is proved that auditors are liable to the shareholders of the company. But what if in the case of a third party? Now, auditor liability are for the shareholder and for the third party, means other stakeholders. For the shareholder, liability exists in the contract. Liability is given by the contract, that is audit engagement letter. But for third party, liability is in tort. Liability in tort is further explained by Bannerman case. It was a case between the Royal Bank of Scotland versus Bannerman Johnstone Macleay. And the result of this case were that the court held in favor of Bank of Scotland that in case the entire summary of that, if there is a known stakeholder, known third party, and if auditor know there is an identified third party who is going to use the information, and that information is going to be relied by for an known purpose, then auditor is liable. There are certain ways of limiting the auditor's liability. Audit firm may take the following steps to minimize their exposure to the negligence claim. First is restrict the use of auditor report and assurance to their specific intended purpose. Means you are going to limit the recipients or users or intended purpose, means intended purpose, and to the use of auditor report. Now the second is the engagement letter clause to limit the liability to the third party. Now auditor is going to put a statement or a line, a clause in the engagement letter that they are limiting their liability to the third party. Next point is screening the potential audit client to accept only client with the risk where the risk can be managed. Next is specialist legal advice specialist legal advice where appropriate. Next, respective responsibilities and duties of director and auditor to be communicated in the audit engagement letter and auditor report to minimize the misunderstanding. Next is insurance, professional indemnity insurance for the auditors. Next is carry out high quality audit work, take on the limited liability partnership status, and last is set a liability cap with the client. This liability cap is usually there is for a quoted and non-quoted company. For Germany, for a quoted company that is 4 million euros, and for a non-quoted company it is 1 million euros. To summarize, what are the ways to limit the auditor's liability? They are: restrict the use of and the purpose of auditor report or assurance report, put a statement in the engagement letter that limiting liability to third party, screening the client that you only accept the client with the managed risk, take specialist legal advice where appropriate, responsibility and duties of directors and auditors should be communicated in the engagement letter and auditor reports to minimize misunderstanding. Insurance, carrying out a high quality audit work, taking on limited liability partnership status LLP, and a liability cap with the client, setting a liability cap with the client. So these are the ways to limit the liability. This marks the end of the topic, professional liability of the auditor.